But first tonight, as I said, Happy Australia Day. Now the woke lefties will have you think that's the equivalent of wishing a Wiccan curse on someone. There's nothing to celebrate, they'll insist, while they're buying their soy lattes and sipping their spritzers on this beautiful day. And a lot of the wealthy wokesters, they'll be rendering judgment of a fictional genocide from their beach homes where they've enjoyed a summer of seafood and surf. Others, well, they'll probably take time off from their unemployment to work on protests today on why January the 26th shouldn't be a public holiday. And while these whingers do their thing, the rest of us, we had a great day. At least I did. I hope you did as well, celebrating a great country. And let's all hope it stays that way. Because there are signs that what has made Australia great is actually under threat. There now seems to be a lot of people here who don't want to work to their full capacity and yet still expect to live the lifestyle of those people who do. Our politicians have spent decades not addressing the substantive long-term issues that actually need to be sorted here. That head in the sand approach has left us with one of the highest costs of living anywhere in the world. Our housing prices are sky high. Food costs are massive, while electricity prices alone are crippling household budgets. Now, this beggars belief. We are a nation with an abundance of land for housing and agriculture. We're a nation blessed with natural resources. We've got just 25 million people. This cost of living crisis is entirely self-inflicted. Government is to blame. They're tinkering with what worked for such a long time and turned it into a grand social experiment that is actually turning the great into the mediocre. Have you noticed that the bigger government gets, the more intrusive it gets into your life, the worse your life actually gets? Well, maybe that's only for those who are actually working to provide for themselves. I mean, their efforts to get ahead are now being ravaged by taxes, levies and tolls imposed by all three tiers of government that seem to have an insatiable lust for your money. And at the other end of the scale, you also have politicians wanting to throw your money at those who simply won't work. The Greens want to bump up the dole to around $32,000 a year, while knocking back tax cuts for those earning as little as $40,000 a year. Now that begs the question, under the Greens plan, why would anyone take a job paying, say, $800 a week and then pay the costs of going to work, the tolls, the clothing, the transport, the time, when they'd probably be financially better off sitting around waiting for the next dole payment and doing nothing? This is the sort of country our current crop of politicians are pushing us into. And rather than have a rational discussion over the tough but necessary decisions that need to be made in order to keep us on that path to prosperity, we now have distractions galore to take your mind off while the quality of life is going backwards for all. In the declining days of the Roman Empire, it was bread and circuses. In Australia today, we have minority outrage over the date of a public holiday, an expensive referendum to enshrine racism in our constitution, and a bunch of babbling bludgers looking to blame others for their own failures. These are distractions to stop us identifying the real problem and apportioning the blame where it belongs, to our politicians of all political stripes. Well, I guess some of the blame lies with us too. I mean, maybe not you and me. The Sky audience is likely more attuned to the substantive problems behind the political spin than many others. But in a real sense, while a lot of Aussies can detect something is actually wrong, they keep muddling through. They keep accepting their lot with some muted complaints perhaps, but not really connecting the economic and social dots. Our politicians are letting us down. They've become a class of their own, insulated from the real world concerns as they're cushioned by fat salaries, first-class travel and an attentive entourage. They love the minority rabble-rousers creating discord and disunity around Australia Day because it keeps us from pointing the finger of blame at them.